The League of Legends community has largely a similar problem to the Yu-Gi-Oh community. It's full of cope. At least that's the idea I get from some of these larger content creators. Today I want to cover a few topics that caught my attention. We'll start with the smaller stuff before moving into a video breakdown. Firstly, and probably the most recent thing, I Will Dominate's take about women in gaming was just painfully ignorant and out of date to me. His video on the whole was fine. The pro player he's talking about, Blippo, was also super ignorant and dumb when talking about the lack of pro women League players. But he's not exactly Mr. Enlightened either.
Like, my take on this is that there's a bunch of things that make it so that women do not, number one, want to be competitive gamers in League of Legends, and also just get beaten down at a bunch of different opportunities. So if you start from just like the beginning, right? Women are not encouraged to play games as much as men are encouraged to play games, right? Like, this is just how society is, right? As a result, there are way less women that play competitive video games. Like, if you looked at ranked numbers, there's way less women that play in ranked than men, percentage-wise. So if then you go and you think about what percentage of those players become high rated, there's an even smaller amount of women that are actually even attempting to go pro.
This part is fine, but this is something that can apply on the whole to any group that plays games, and this doesn't really address the ratio of those groups either. For example, let's say 60% of players on League of Legends are male. If only 10% of male players are trying to be pro, and only 10% of the rest of League's players, who for this example are female, are also trying to be pro, then there's no disparity. You could say it's unfair that more men are trying to be pro League players. 10% of 60 and 10% of 40 aren't the same thing. But then you'll need to look at the marketing and really the general appeal of your game to see if there's a reason it's not a 50-50 split.
And then that doesn't even include how people treat women in games. Like, everyone knows that if you're a woman and you use a mic in a game, somebody's going to harass you. Like, it just is what it is. If you use your mic in a game, somebody's probably going to say some up shit. People think it's funny, whatever.
No, not whatever. If you really think that's a big problem and the reason women don't play more games, why don't you do something about it? Advocate against it? Often harassment happens? This is just so ignorant. How many games that even have voice chats have mute buttons? You don't even have to interact with people who are rude to you in voice chats. And for as long as I've been playing League, I'm definitely sure I've gotten harsher insults than generic woman gamer comments. And you know what? I either let them talk their shit and don't say anything back, or I mute them. I don't give them ammunition to keep shitting on me and ruining my game by egging them on. This isn't a hard thing to do. I don't know why women who play games suddenly forget how to use the mute buttons or report people who are genuinely griefing them. And League doesn't even have a voice chat unless you queue up with people in your party. So this wouldn't even apply to League of Legends.
And I can speak on this, and this is something that Azael alluded to. I'm pretty sure we're talking about the same situation, where teams have not accepted women who are good enough to go into tier 1 on the basis of they thought that it would be like a potential issue for them to live in like a gaming house. Like, will that change the team dynamic? Like, are they going to end up like in a situation where players like, end up treating them poorly or something? Like, is this going to be an issue? And there's been women that have been good enough to play in tier 1 that literally just get denied purely on the basis that they're a woman. It's like, we think that if you join our team, it's going to like disrupt everything, and we don't like trust the players to be mature enough to treat you normally in this type of environment. Like, this has literally just happened before in esports.
This is obviously something that's going to be a problem. It's a known problem with normal jobs that coworkers tend to hook up to some degree. You're spending all day with someone you might be attracted to, and in this case, maybe sleeping in the same gamer house as them. How would there not be a problem there? A 5-person team with 4 guys and 1 girl are going to have a problem sleeping in the same house. And that doesn't even touch on what you do if she hooks up with someone else on the team. Is that gonna make everyone else jealous because of drama? If you trade away her boyfriend, do they have to break up? If you trade her away, how do you make sure she's going to get the same level of treatment that she already gets from your team? Fuck, this doesn't even address the whole living situation. Does she get her own floor of the house? Her own bathroom? Locks on her door so someone on the team doesn't end up in her room to fool around at night? There's obviously going to be problems with one girl and 4 guys being on a team and living with each other. If you want to say that those are problems that need to be worked on, fine, but then why hide the organization's names who don't want to deal with those problems? You know, those people who turn down women for simply being women? By not telling people who is doing this and trying to address the problems, you're just perpetuating the problems that prevent women from being hired as pro players. I Will Dominate has stumbled into the right position for the wrong reasons. He's correct in the sense that Blippo is stupid for saying that women aren't pro players because they get periods. He's mostly wrong about the attitude of gamers to women. I've met women gamers through Valorant that carried the fuck out of me, and the games I played with them, there's never any type of this harassment. They either carried all game and got glazed or played horrible and got shit on. The standard experience of anyone who plays games. So get some new talking points because these are obviously out-of-date arguments and meaningless points. Moving on to GBay99, whose videos we're only going to talk about, not really touch on in detail. I find these ideas and his titles contradictory, and if he can't make up his mind, it's not my job to interpret what he's got here. 6 months ago, he had a video release called I Ran Away from League of Legends. This on its own is an interesting idea. Whether it be addiction, lack of interest, or just growing frustrated with the game, there's many reasons to try and run from League of Legends, even if it is the main source of content on your channels. And then, 2 months later, he has a video called I Tried League of Legends After 5 Years Sober. Okay, you ran away from League and are now coming back after a long break. I assume so anyways, because if there's a genuine alcohol problem or something tied to GBay playing League of Legends, that would have been stronger clickbait than just sitting in a chair in your yard. Regardless, you ran from League and are going back to it? If it was an addiction or something that hindered your life in some way, why return to it? Wouldn't it just harm your life again, even in moderation? If you stop doing crack and then return to it after 5 years of sobriety, with some moderation, that doesn't mean it's going to be good for you. And then the last video to look at, League of Legends is good and I'm tired of pretending it's not. So you ended up running away from something that was good. I guess I'll drop all the pretense here, this is fucking retarded. You ran away from something that was good but in the moment you hated? Ended up going back to it after 5 years of sobriety from the game itself or something that made the game unbearable, and then proclaim that it's actually hella good and you're tired of people saying it isn't? Let's assume for a moment I didn't watch your League is Good Actually video, and didn't know you were going to be nostalgia baiting for a decent chunk of it. How am I supposed to trust your opinion on this topic if you can't even make up your mind? This happened over the course of 2 months, it's not like this was a year later or some type of retrospective. This was a pretty quick turn from I hate crack to crack is actually pretty good. Like I demonstrated in my other League of Legends video, the game makes changes simply just to do it, with no balance taken into account. Sometimes it will straight up lie to you, some roles and items can't be balanced properly because those items will be abused by champions that don't receive balance changes. There's so many problems with League of Legends. Hell, at the time of writing, Riot has even created a new set of Doombots, and it fucking sucks. Only a handful of champions are even viable for this mode. The events are buggy and sometimes don't work, so you can't even beat the bots when you try really hard, and instead of giving the bots interesting, difficult AI, they just get dumb strong abilities and can panic tower dive you if they feel like it. Riot has outright removed some rotating game modes and new game modes they created. Not to mention that they've taken away the Twisted Treeline map from all that time ago, or the really old Dominion game mode. Regardless of how many people play these things, because the numbers don't last or because not enough people play them, they choose to get rid of them. When Riot might as well have infinite money seeing as how fancy skins that cost hundreds of dollars are selling. Speaking of, Nakrit has a video about that. But before we talk about that, let's discuss one of his videos about the 2xKO lore. This is all meaningless. It's a topical video that will get outdated if the game gets any new updates or patches. 2xKO still hasn't released as of writing, and such, nothing is finalized in it. But you want to go look for hidden lore in this unfinished game? How kind of you to waste my time. When I wrote my original League of Legends script, it was before I had looked in depth on it or even tried it in the September closed beta. I don't like the heavy leaning into Arcane or the cancerous absorption that Arcane has over League. Many things in League of Legends that could simply get an update, got an update to align them closer to Arcane. 2xKO seems to be keeping that trend with Jinx, Vibe, and Blitzcrank. In all reality, looking into 2xKO lore this deep before it's even fully released tells you more about the world of Arcane, which will probably overtake League of Legends. I'm already getting really upset thinking about the League of Arcane, so let's move on to Nakrit's next video. Nakrit's skin videos in part go to my point of Riot having infinite money. He talks about the most recent Hall of Legends skin in this video, showing that they made Riot a ton of money. So Riot choosing to be lazy or not really eating the small cost of keeping alternative game modes live looks worse here. And in his other skin video, he gives Riot props for making variety one-off skins for characters again. Because they stopped doing that and brought it back. And this is saving League of Legends. No, optional cosmetics can't save a game. You absolute fucking cauliflower. Even if it was saving the game, you're giving them props for doing something that they had been doing. They stopped doing it for whatever reason and brought it back obviously to get more money. Now they can give one character a random skin instead of releasing a set of skins for 4 or 5 characters. They can pump out one skin faster than they can pump out 5. The fucking Ruination skin line is just people getting green and spooky. Why would they stop doing that because they make one-off skins? This is blatant money-hungry behavior. They're not saving shit. They're just pilfering more pockets. You fuck. Okay. Last on the docket is a video by Nakrit we're actually going to break down. Riot is shutting down fan projects. Doesn't Pokemon or Nintendo do something like that? I wonder how many fans they've netted by taking down games far more interesting than they're willing to make. Well, hopefully Riot and Nintendo both get what they deserve and crash, for one reason or another.
Well, we got onto a really weird crossroad, because Riftbound just let Riot into doing their first controversial thing with the game. But the fact is that it was very obvious that this would happen from the very beginning. Though the way Riot handled this could have been a lot better. And once again, I may sound like a broken record, but it all comes from Riot's fans being really passionate and making cool things for them.
You've gotta be kidding me. He just told the fans they care too much for a game that refuses to innovate, and that they should have expected this no less. This excuse would never fly for anything else. You should not expect that your things get stolen. You should not expect that someone will attempt to send you to another plane of existence. Like, fuck you. Not only that, but it's for a card game. They already have a card game. They just royally fucked it. Legends of Runeterra is pretty much dead. I never hear any news about it, no buzz about it. All anyone ever talks about is League of Legends, the patches, and the newest champions. New game modes are sparse and sometimes barely even function. New maps or even customizable ones are something we'll never get. They won't even eat the cost to allow for all the game modes to even be rotated. Why would you trust them to create a physical card game?
So, in case you are not kept up to date with Riftbound, which is Riot's new physical card game, one of its bigger points of conflict, which up to now was the only point of conflict, is the fact that the game releases in China first, next month, with the rest of the world getting it later around October. This wouldn't really be that much of an issue if people weren't already excited about collecting the alternative versions of the cards.
Okay, I guess I lied. I'll put up with this video for as long as I can, but it's like Necrit poofed into existence and doesn't remember anything. And everywhere else runs a modified, more censored game with the TCG. It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where the original card game is run in Japan and called the OCG, and everywhere else runs a modified, more censored game with the TCG. And also we're ignoring Legends of Runeterra, the card game they are running into the ground. Why in the fuck would you trust them with this when they can't even successfully popularize a digital card game?
And well, this fact that this game has been region locked for 2 whole months also reflects on another thing. Even though people may be really excited to play this game, they simply wouldn't be able to. That's despite the fact that all the cards are technically ready and the rules are set. And that is exactly what the community decided to fix. Because after all, what these players wanted to do was to try the game, see how it feels, and they simply wanted to learn.
Well, according to you in your intro, they should have expected that this wouldn't work. And also they should keep their passion for the game in check. How dare you hate that a game is being released somewhere early because fuck you for not being China. Just be in China and you can have the game on release. It's a skill issue, honestly. Fucking, how long are we supposed to tolerate China getting preferential treatment exactly? Who gives a fuck if they can be the biggest market for you? Disney has been doing this for a long time. From omitting Finn from Star Wars posters because the black man would tank sales in China, to having the actress in the Mulan remake pass over the genocide and slavery going on. Just fuck off from China until they get their shit together. If everyone did that, then maybe they would lock the fuck in and stop needing to be pandered and coddled to.
So imagine you are in this situation where you have a physical card game that is ready to play, a part of the world can already play it, we know the design of all the cards, we know all the rules, everything has been already set up, and so what do? Well, you do what many other fans have always done for a lot of different physical games. You set up a digital version of it.
They have Legends of Runeterra already! And that's a digital card game that everyone is forgetting because it isn't popular. Why would you be okay with them making another one when Legends of Runeterra isn't popular and is a League-based card game?
This is absolutely nothing new. There have been many engines that support fan creations, with one of the most popular ones being Tabletop Simulator. This game has been used to recreate countless physical games, so that people would be able to play them together virtually as well. And to be more specific, a great example here is Warhammer 40k. Which the fans recreated in Tabletop Simulator, and now this virtual version is being used to teach people the rules. And well, this is a pretty effective way of getting people into the games without the commitment of opening your wallets. But it all comes with a pretty big caveat. Because it is all taking someone's intellectual property to play these games. And so, every time one of these recreations pops up, it is all completely ran on the mercy of the IP's holder. At any point, they have the lawful right to just take it down.
Ah yes, they have the right to, so you should expect them to. Genuinely, fuck yourself. I better not see you or any motherfucker who agrees with you using mods to add Warwick to Tekken or put Spyro in League of Legends. Okay, well I guess League of Legends already stole Spyro, but you get the point. If you're going to say that the creators of these fan creations should expect their stuff to get taken down since they operate at the mercy of IP holders, you better not indulge in any of it. Like your intro said, the fans care too much. How dare they innovate for a company that has shown no interest in doing so? If they aren't already going to make a digital form of Riftbound, which you shouldn't be okay with them making anyhow, why does it matter if fans are going to make it? Because someone might play it, realize it's not for them, and Riot will lose out on someone not buying cards? A free trial existing, which may or may not get people interested in Riftbound.
And throughout the history of board games, it already happened a few times. One perfect example here is Lorcana.
I'm going to skip this section. I don't care if multiple companies are engaging in this action of taking down fan games. I think they have no right to do so if they refuse to innovate on their own product or create a product that would fulfill the same role as the fan creation. Even then, like with Pokemon fan games, if people are unsatisfied with the mainline product and create something that they want to see, and they ultimately only take donations for their product and don't put a price tag on it, I see no harm in someone putting out a free Pokemon fan game that isn't just a ROM hack of Scarlet and Violet that would run on my computer. Which would probably help the performance issues with that game, if I'm honest.
4 days ago, an eventful day happened. That day, on their official channels, Riftbound released a video explaining the rules. It is a really cool video to get you up and running for the game, but at the same time, they shut down Pixelborn for Riftbound, as well as any other form of playable digital version of Riftbound, which is something I am not surprised by. But unlike how it all went down for Lorcana, I am surprised it happened this early, because shutting down the community game makes sense.
It might legally make sense, but it doesn't make sense if they themselves aren't going to make a replacement product. Oh my god. Well, he's going over some points for why. Let's see those at least before I give up.
First of all, there is the entire legal gray area. You are essentially making a game out of Riot's IP. Legally, this would be the same thing as someone just making their own game using Riot's IP. Even if you give it to people for free, if it is made public, then Riot can take it down.
They can take it down, but what's the point in doing so if it's free or runs off an optional donation system and doesn't cover something they plan on making? Since they plan on making an MMO eventually, if someone else created a League of Legends MMO, free or not, I could understand that getting taken down. I wouldn't particularly like it since it might be different from their own product, but I would understand that. If I made, for example, a KDA True Damage rhythm game, and Riot is never going to make one, what in the fuck is the point of taking it down? That product would be in a place they never planned on monopolizing. So the only point of them taking it down would be that they're ass mad. And it's even worse in the case of Riftbound because they already have a digital card game. Why let them profit off card game Electric Boogaloo? Why would they make a brand new one to sell their physical cards? It's retarded.
But at the same time, Riot definitely should have waited a bit before taking it down. In fact, I would have probably waited at least until October, which is when the official release should be. Because up until that point, they could just let the community build up the hype. Even better, they could have told the community, hey, we're gonna keep it up for now, but in 2 months, we'll take it down. If Riot was fully transparent with this, I don't think people would have really had an issue.
Riot being transparent doesn't make them less retarded. If my neighbor plants an apple tree on our fence line and I tell them in 2 months I'm cutting it down, I'm still an asshole. They could have tried to work something out with this online publisher of the game or left it alone since it probably would have helped them more than hurt them. But they chose to take it down simply because they could. And you, Crypt, better not use any fan mods, games, fucking anything. Because you just said you would have also taken down the digital card form of Riftbound even if you were in control of the situation. You're just as big of an ass as Riot.
This is where we need to pause for a moment. Because here they clearly say that they want people to experience Riftbound in person with other players. And I mean, sure, you can argue that experiencing this digitally without the physical interaction is harming the game experience. But let's just keep in mind that you are still playing online with other people, likely on Discord. But also, they talk about them wanting their players to play the game physically, while there is still no way to do so.
These are the problems you have with them shutting down the Riftbound digital fan project. Not that it's immoral, not that it's stupid, not that they're gonna eventually get some alternative, just that we have no way to play it physically right now. And playing online can be social like the physical version.
Even though Riot mentioned that the social part of the game is really important, let's not forget that there are also other big board games with their own unofficial releases, all while those games are totally fine with it.
But if they weren't, you wouldn't really care. They should have expected that to happen. They shouldn't be so passionate. They shouldn't develop a fan project, most likely for free, to try and get people involved in something they care about. They shouldn't innovate where companies refuse to. It's obviously all their fault. My source is your intro. Yeah, I tap out here. Those last few minutes in the video can go fuck themselves. His entire video is undermined by his intro, where he pushes all the blame off Riot for canceling the fan project and onto the fans for being too passionate and making it in the first place. They should have expected this, and Riot is totally justified to do this in Necrit's eyes. Forget the moral arguments and how Riot refuses to innovate League of Legends in a meaningful way. The fan project must die. So stick to your principles, Necrit. Don't touch fan games and mods. Expect all of them to be taken down. Don't help any of them ever. Riot has a right to take them all down, after all. And clearly, someone who built their entire channel and brand off of Riot and League of Legends wouldn't dare stand against them.